Hi, everybody. I'm going to do a really short presentation, really short, just about the course itself, a few key points that might be interested. And then, as we said, we're going to talk to Roisin and Cian because it's probably what you're here for. During my presentation, I will not see this chat box, but I will look at it just after that, and we can have a bit of a chat after. Okay, let's go. Can you all see my screen? Yeah, brilliant. Okay. So briefly about the Postgraduate Certificate in Creative and Cultural Entrepreneurship. You may not know that, but last year we couldn't run the course because we didn't get Springboard funding, and they realized they made a terrible mistake, and they came back this year saying, guys, we have funding for you again, and we're super excited because now we can run our course again. So it hasn't run last year, but now we're back on it, and we're back meeting people to do this course. So first thing first, about the Creative and Cultural Entrepreneurship. It's an inspiring and practice-driven course designed to equip you with the mindset and tools to thrive in today's dynamic creative economy. Throughout the program, you will explore a diverse range of innovation topics, context, and influential thinkers, while building a strong understanding of the theories that underpin entrepreneurship. You will learn to identify and act on opportunities across different sectors, developing ideas from concept through to implementation. And along the way, you will strengthen your ability to collaborate with a wide range of stakeholders in a multidisciplinary environment and critically evaluate the commercial, social, and cultural impact of innovation. This course is about more than ideas. It's about turning them into meaningful, real-world outcome. And to do that, we have 3 modules. These modules are at level 9, and each of them are worth 10 credits. The first module, Innovation and Creativity, explores principles and practices associated with creativity and innovation. It exposes students to frameworks and methodology for idea generation, problem solving, and creative collaboration. Examples of classes that will run in Module 1 are, for example, design thinking, empathy mapping, and storytelling. I won't lie to you, this is often the favorite module from our students. Let's be honest. Then we have Module 2, Enterprise Development. This module introduces the process involved in creating, leading, and scaling entrepreneurial startup venture. Examples of classes are budgeting, marketing, intellectual property. This is a little bit more toward business side of the course. It's very important, though, especially if you have the idea of having your own business, or you're ready to, or if you want to create a service, something that doesn't exist yet. It's quite an important module, but it is a little bit more challenging than the other modules. But we have great contributors and a variety of contributors coming to teach that with their own expertise. It's exactly module. In Module 3, which is called Career Pathways, this module orients students toward leaving the program in terms of preparation, planning, and project work. In Module 3, you will learn about storytelling, about branding, about leadership, about pitching your idea. And we finish the program with a lovely pitching assessment where you come up in front of your class and in front of your judges and you actually pitch your final idea. But don't worry, you don't have to have an idea to enroll in the course. Finalizing your idea, finding an idea, a project, a business, a service is actually part of the learning experience. So don't stop that from applying from the course. Make sure you still do if you're interested in it, even if you don't have an idea yet. Another thing I haven't written there, but that is important, is that we will record your attendance in the course just because the course is funded by Springboard. Because they're funding your course, you need to attend the course. So the minimum required attendance is 80% per module. Another reason why we are keeping an eye on attendance as well is because we want to make sure you don't fall behind. So if at some point I notice that you haven't attended your class for 2 weeks, I might drop you an email and say, hey, are you okay? Is everything all right? Because we know as mature students, coming back to education is challenging. It's not easy. You are juggling with multiple responsibilities at the same time, family, work, your own business is hard. So we're here to support you. And in Trinity College, there are loads of services available. Because yes, once you're enrolled, you become an official Trinity College student, which comes with a lot of perks, including the lovely library, the gym, but most importantly, you get a proper graduation, a real one, the gowns, the hat, everything. And that's a very, very nice day. It's our second favorite day. First one being the induction, because we get to meet you all. Second day being the graduation, where we celebrate all your hard work, your success. And I mean, it's cool graduation, Trinity College, let's be honest. So it's our second favorite day. That's really all about the course. I don't want to spend too much time on it. As we say, we want to hear about Cian and Roisin One last thing I want to say is that we have a lot of contributors coming to teach in the course. We have academics, but we also have experts in the field who bring their own experience to you, and that's something that brings a lot of value to the course. That and you guys, the students that are coming, it's such a brilliant cohort. You have people from very diverse background and different expertise, and you learn a lot from each other. I'm sure Cian and Roisin are going to talk about that, but it's really, really one of the most beautiful things we have in this course is the relationship that are being built out of the course. And an example that I'm going to show you, sorry, assessment deck. An example is that we have an event running on the 18th of June. I'm going to send you a link to that, but we have our past students coming to do a little exhibition about what they're doing now. So we're going to have different stands, and one of them is actually a creative collective that has been created out of 4 students in our course that delighted to create a collective just between them. So that's one of the things that come out of the course that is very, very exciting, and that I'm really proud of, to be honest with you. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen now because we want to talk a little bit more about Roisin and Cian. Is that all right, guys? Are you happy with that? And then we can talk a bit more about any questions we may have about the course after a little bit chat with Cian and Roisin. Is that all right? Brilliant. Cool. Thank you very much. Okay, so I'm going to ask you, maybe Roisin, if that's okay for you to start, just to tell us a little bit about your own background and what led you to take upon the course with us a couple of years ago.
Sure. Thanks so much for Jeanne, and thanks for having me on the call as well. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Roisin Heffernan. I'm the founder of Soar Design, which is a women's wear brand that focuses on garments that are completely made in Ireland in my Dublin studio from start to finish. So before I did the course in Tangent, I did an undergraduate in fashion design in Limerick School of Art and Design, and that led me on to do the course in Trinity because I felt like I hadn't got any real business experience and knowledge that I needed. I just had the design, and for me to start my business, I really needed that combination with the business as well. And the course for me was like so beneficial, and I'm really excited to tell you a lot more about it as well throughout this call. But that's kind of what led me on to do it. I just felt like it was the next step for me to be able to combine the business with the design, to be able to give me that step and that confidence in starting my own business.
Thank you so much, Roisin. And I do remember your presentation about fashion, and it was super interesting. So I'm glad that you got something out of it as well. Thank you. Cian, can I ask you the same question? Could you tell us a bit more about your background and what made you take this course with us?
Absolutely. Thanks very much, Jeanne, and hello to everybody. My name is Cian Kelleher. I was actually completely different angle to Roisin. I was a civil engineer, still am, but I've always had like so many people, creative outlet. Mine was writing. I went abroad during the recession. I was in Australia, in the interior, even working on coal mines and things like that. And I had all these ideas. I would write them down. I had a lot of free time. I would journal them. I would come up with stories. But living and working in such a structured environment, I didn't really come across many people who are kind of involved in the arts or anything kind of creative like that. And it almost felt like, an alien world somewhere completely different to anyone I knew. And then I saw this course, and I'd kind of realized over the years, who you're around really shapes a lot of your opportunities. And I didn't know any avenue into the creative world or the artistic world, and all of a sudden this appears, and it was completely accurate. Every week I was sitting in around people who were musicians, artists, fashion designers like Roisin. They completely lived in a creative kind of environment. They built all these connections, and the course just allowed you to slot into them. You got to know people, and linking up with people creates so many more opportunities than kind of trying to just forge your own path completely out there in the wilderness. So the course kind of provided me with access to a creative world I hadn't really experienced before.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Cian. And it's exactly what we were saying. Like, you guys are such a diverse background within the cohort, with people literally doing everything, and it's fantastic because you can learn from each other, meet each other, create that networking, as you're talking about, Cian. And talking about that, how was it to work with people from different backgrounds, from the both of you? Because as you said, you're very specific background, and you have people with, again, something very different to bring to the table. And in module 1, we do some group work, so we put you guys in groups to work on different projects. How was that experience for you? If you're happy to talk a little bit about it.
if Roisin
Yeah,
wants to go for far away.
sure. I'll go ahead. And yeah, for me, it was amazing to be able to meet so many people from different backgrounds. And I think that when I entered the course, I didn't realize the vast experiences that people would have. And like, for me, some of the people in the course would have had extra years of, in work environments and experiences compared to myself. And I found it very beneficial because I've kept contacts and friends from the course I'm still in touch with. And during the course, I was able to gain so much knowledge through my peers in the course. Just different things. Was one really good friend of mine. She worked in Enterprise Ireland for years, and she was a wealth of knowledge to me. That's a really good example for me personally. I was able to learn so much off her. And honestly, there were different people from music, textile designers, film, everything. And it really did shape. There's a lot of things as well, like Cian said, that I would have thought, oh, like that's what I think. And then when I hear other people talking, it really opened up my mind into other conversations and different ways of thinking that I wouldn't have thought about beforehand. And then when I heard some things, I was like, what, that's a really good point for you. And it just really does shape the way that I went forward in my business after doing the course, by just being able to hear the experiences and the knowledge that people brought to the table. Because before that, it would have been very much like fashion, and everyone in my circle would have been fashion in college. So then after that, that wide variety just really, really did. It just helped open up new ways for me, definitely, of thinking.
Super. Thank you, Roisin.
Roisin hit on the exact same things that I found. I had such a kind of I didn't realize how insular my groups were, that I'd existed in my whole life prior to this. A lot of the way I kind of viewed the world was, built around what's your political opinion. That's what we spoke about. What sport do you like? But I remember being in one class we had, Jeanne. They started off by, I think it was the one in October from the first module, and we came in for a long Saturday. And they got us all relaxed at the start. They did these kind of almost meditation like exercises to kind of relax us and get us into the creative spirit. One member of my group, we're still friends. She's a music teacher, and she wants to teach piano to disadvantaged children in North Dublin. And I remember just at the start, they asked us to relax our minds by how many things we can picture, how many separate different things we can picture in the room, and maybe you come up with the sky, birds outside the window, etc., etc. It's just something to switch off. But the way she processed the world was that it was what she heard. Now, this might sound obvious to people who are involved in creative and kind of musical environments. I'd never come across someone who would ever say something like this. Wasn't her political outlook. It's the way she's actually processing the world was completely different to anyone I'd ever kind of been around before. And it kind of all the things I picked up on that day was like, you don't see the world identically to everyone else on a functional level. And it was I don't know, it was kind of a bit changing for how I wrote and how I thought about other people.
It's super interesting, Cian. Thank you so much. And you bring like a different aspect of the course as well. It's not just all about what we're teaching you as professional, but also what you're learning from each other. And it's really interesting that you're bringing that. And it brings me to all that empathy that we're doing in Module 1 about understanding your customers. And I'm just bringing that up because I was going to ask you both about different topic, framework, and assignments that change a little bit the way you think. So you just brought something that you learned from your classmate, but is it something that you learned with us at Trinity that really changed your way of thinking with your different contributors that were in class with you?
I would say that the idea of putting across your value, that didn't just have to be in terms of, okay, I want to pitch an idea for a play or a book or something like that, which is where we were taught to do. This is creative and cultural entrepreneurship. You're trying to make solid and real these kind of creative outlets into an actual functioning business. But that bled into everything. Like I can now kind of put across the value to my partner of what restaurant we're going to on Friday, maybe make a small little elevator pitch that we're taught how to do for other things. Everything became practical. Everything became useful.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Really happy to hear that you can use that even in a restaurant. That's brilliant. Roisin, is there anything you'd like to talk about one of the thing you remember the most, maybe, or one of the tools that you remember the most?
Absolutely. There's definitely even a few things that come to mind, but to pick on one that was for me Because like I said, I think my confidence, I was only out of my undergrad and I really wanted this business. Like Cian said, the idea lived in my head for a long time where I wanted to have this business. I wanted to be independent. And it's that confidence I didn't have. And there was one exercise in particular where we all had to pull a piece of paper out of a hat, and I pulled out the CEO, so I had to be the CEO of my group. And I remember in that moment, like I was in charge of the group, and despite like the fact that these people, like I said, had a lot more experience in life and in work professionally than I did, in that moment I was in charge of them, and I had to step up to that role, step up to that position. And it's something that I remember because it was interesting how everybody responded to me like as that, and it did change as well the way that I kind of thought. And it was an exercise that, just when you mentioned that, it stood out in my mind, just having to step up and take that leadership role in that exercise and in that moment. And it was a position that I'd never had the opportunity to do before, even if it was only for 10-20 minutes. It's something that I hadn't experienced before, so that's something that definitely stands out in my mind. Any is one from
Thank you, Roisin. I think we say that on the very first class. We're going to pull you out of your comfort zone, and you're going to have to deal with it because it's going to be kind of the new normal. We'd like to pull you out of your comfort zone because this is when you experiment the most and when you learn the most. So yeah, so glad to hear that you came up learning a lot from it. So thank you, Roisin. Talking about that, about being out of your comfort zone. As we say, it's a group where we have a lot of people who are mature students coming back to education over a long time and doing things that they're not used to. Is there any challenges that you've encountered during the course, and how did you overcome them, if you're happy to share with us?
Yeah, I'll say that one of the challenges for me definitely in the course was the elevator pitch, because I was not good at public speaking, talking in front of people. Even if it was only for 60 seconds, I really struggled with the idea of that, because in my undergrad, it's actually something that I never had to do due to COVID. So it's something that I was completely unfamiliar with. And, I was really confident in my business ideas, but I wasn't confident in pitching it and standing up. And at one point, I even contemplated not doing it and just leaving the marks. But I knew that I was on the road for a distinction and I really wanted it. So I had to force myself out of that comfort zone. And that's definitely a big challenge that I had to overcome. Even though it's 60 seconds, it sounds a bit silly, for me, that was something that I found particularly challenging. And once I did it, then I was so glad I did it. And it just nearly felt like that fear was overcome then, with even things to come after that. Just by doing it, I was like, you know what, that's actually grand and I'm fine now.
And now you nailed it and you're able to do it again. Thank you, Roisin. Cian, is there anything on your side regarding a challenge during the course?
I would completely agree with Roisin as regards that there could be no better experience for how you're going to have to, if you're going to be creative and you're going to try to turn that into something that's actually financially viable for a life, you're going to have to put yourself out there. I hated doing that. I just like to sit in the corner, take my notes, have a small little chat, and then all of a sudden you're in front of 60, 65 people and a bank of people who are used to dealing with pitches, maybe for the local authority to offer you a grant or something like that. And not only that, you're coming up after someone who's nailed their pitch and people have clapped them. It's like, oh my God, and then to do that and then come through it, amazing experience, fabulous. Like there was obviously more nuts and bolts parts of the course that were challenging. Before Christmas, we had to put together a kind of almost like an account or a budget or a kind of proposal for your business based on facts and figures and things like that. That was time consuming, hugely valuable, but in terms of stress and that kind of emotional issues, definitely the elevator pitch and that kind of putting yourself out there was a great experience, but tough.
Delighted to hear. I think it's one of the things that comes up the most. Yeah, the elevator pitch, and finances. Finances is a big one as well that comes across as a challenge. But yeah, it's kind of something you have to do if you want to become an entrepreneur, or even for yourself, as personal skills as well. So it's a lot. But I must say I really love the pitch, and I know I always attend this session because it's so great to see all the work that you managed to put together. You have your branding, you have your idea, you know how to get to your market because you've done your empathy mapping. Like really all the skills that you've learned in 9 months are just there in 60 seconds. It's so valuable, and it's very exciting to see you guys there and having all your class supporting you, clapping. It's a great day. Like, it's a really, really great day. So I'm glad that even if you were scary, you guys managed to do it and got a lot out of it. Thank you. Thank you very much for sharing that. We have like a few people here now in the room right now. And if there is people that are still hesitating to apply, what would you say to them?
Do you want to go ahead?
No, not at all.
Sorry, sorry, my connection's a bit slow, so I don't know when I talk if it's someone talking away. But I would say if someone is hesitating, I approach a lot of things that if you're hesitating about it, there's a reason why you're hesitating. So everyone is on their own journey and their own reason to do this course or to not do this course. You have to choose what's best for you. I think a list of pros and cons. There's a lot of pros to this course. Me and Cian have touched on some of them. I found it hugely beneficial for me in the position that I was in. I think if you do a pros and cons list, and if you consider the amount of time this is going to take, you do have to put in the effort, you have to put in the time. And if it's something that you do definitely want to do and you're still hesitating, I think you should do it because it absolutely benefited me hugely. I actually went on to do a Springboard course after this one as well. So I added on to it as well. And they're just phenomenal. I go around and I recommend this course to everybody. I wanted to come on this call today. I'm on holidays and I wanted to come on to this call today to tell everybody about how great it truly is. So I would 100% recommend it. And it's so excellently run as well by Jeanne and the team. Everything is in line, on time, and you know what's coming and what's not coming. And it's honestly, definitely, I recommend it.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate that and your time in the south of France to be with me instead. So thank you. I really appreciate Rashid. Cian, anything you'd like to say to these lovely people in the room with us?
Just that I totally agree with everything Roisin said, and the idea that you can sit in a room with 60 people and some of them will have already carried out the kind of pitch or have gone to maybe publish a book that you'll never come across before this class, and then on the other side you have someone who's acted and they know that kind of environment where if you want to get involved in something like plays or something like that, I've never come across a room with such options in terms of making connections than what's available there in the course. And that's just the personal aspect. In terms of the actual course itself, we've already spoken about that elevator pitch. There's nothing that could prepare you for what it's like to kind of put yourself forward in an environment like that, or then actually doing it in real in the bank or at the local authority. Everything about this course, of course, like anything, it pinched at the start. I was nervous on the first day, but I mean, anything that's kind of valuable does come with that.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very, very much. I just have one last question and then I want to open the floor for everybody. But is there anything else you'd like to share with the group here, guys, before we hand out the questions to the Q&A?
Just as well, when I was thinking about some of the things that stood out to me in the course, we had to do a business model as well. And I hadn't touched on a business model before. And I just want to say that part of that business model, I really put everything into it for my own sake, because I really wanted to have a good business model and like really test the waters with what I felt like I was able to accomplish myself. And that business model, I put a lot of time into it, and I came up with the idea of doing like a monthly drop for my business, and that's what I use to this day for my business for the last year and a half, and it works really well for me. So I got a huge amount out of doing that project, doing that business model. I literally still use it to this day, so that's something that was really beneficial to me as well.
Thank you, Roisin. Delighted to hear that everything's going well thanks to that as well. All your work, your ideas and everything. So yeah, well done. Thank you. Cian, anything else you'd like to add?
Similarly, we were shown an editing tool, which now I use. It's just something that if I want to get across a story, something like that, I can actually use this, pop it up on YouTube. It was fabulous.
Brilliant. Thank you. Really appreciate, guys. Thank you, honestly, your time and all your input. It's super interesting because, as I said, I love this group. I love this cohort. I think it's brilliant, but I might be a little biased because I'm running it. So it's good to hear external opinion and some people who actually lived it. So thank you. Guys, here, anybody want to open their mic, and if they have any questions, any comments, ideally for Roisin and Cian, because I'm going to be around anyway, so you can ask me later. But anything you would like to ask? Don't be shy, it's just between us. It's something you'll get used to it once you enroll. You're going to have to talk a lot, so.
I'd like to, can you hear me?
Of course, Chiara, thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to ask if you're coming back to the course again today, what you'd do differently, I suppose, approaching it from the point of view of going into your first couple of days or first week. what would you advise people to do or not do?
Thank you, Cara. Lovely question.
Thanks. That was it. Well, go ahead. That was a great question. I'll just say quickly that for me, I was so quiet. I was so quiet. There are two here, Jeanne and Cian, probably have never seen me talk so much. I was so quiet when I did the course, and I was very much the person who was as quiet as I could until I was pushed out of my comfort zone. But I kind of observed a lot, and I do wish that when I came into it, I just was a bit more myself and not as reserved, because there is really amazing connections in the course, and it's so important to put yourself out there as well to get the most that you possibly can. So be confident going in. Everybody in our cohort was absolutely amazing and lovely, and I'm sure that everybody, if you were to do the course, would be amazing. So just put yourself out there from the start.
Thank you, Roisin. Cian, is there something you'd like to add to that?
I would. I've done, my degree and my undergrad and things like that. And I would have always viewed something, in university or any kind of certificate course like that. This is academic. This was way more fun than anything I've done before. That doesn't, take from the value or anything of it. But it was, if I'd known now coming in just how enjoyable it would be, I wouldn't have been in any way reticent or nervous at the start.
Thank you. And it's a very fair point, because at the end, it's still a level 9, so it's still a high level, and it is academic. You will have to write paper, you will have to do referencing, but we're here to support you. You'll have support. And then you have the fun stuff as well, where you make a video instead of having to write a report, where you do a pitch instead of having to write a report. So we have trying to adapt the assessment strategy to your needs, but also to your audience. At the end of the day, we're here because we want you to be able to pitch your business plan or your idea or your project. So it's not all about writing. It's a bit about that, but it's also about putting yourself out there. And we are currently reviewing our assessment strategy to look as well at AI and everything. So we are currently reviewing it and working on it to make it as valuable as possible for you. It's not just an assessment where you need to get a good grade. It's something that you really need as a skill for your profession. So thank you for putting that out, Cian. Really appreciate that. Cara, does that help a little bit?
Yeah, that's great. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Anybody else would like to open the mic?
There's a few questions in the chat too.
In the chat
Sorry.
box. Yeah. No, thank you. And I saw that you put it one. Your question is about the time commitment. I'm just going to step there just a little bit about that. I believe that time commitment really depends on your personality and how you learn as well. So there's a lot to do personally, how you manage your time, how you work. We do ask 2 assessments per module. We used to have 4. Imagine, years ago we used to have 4. Now we're now to 2 assessments per module. Some of them are a bit faster, like when you come and you do a video recording with me. Some others you have to write 2,000, 2,500 words, so they do require a little bit more time. That would be my take on that. But maybe Roisin and Cian, you have something to add around the time commitment as you've lived it?
Yeah, I would definitely say that. Listen, it's like any other course in that respect. It coming up to the end of the assessment period or the end of the module, work does ramp up, and you'll have to give it more. Listen, in a perfect world, they'll do it every week, and it won't be a load of work at the end. But I've never come across someone who actually exists like that. Coming up until to build the big project for our business plan, that was a lot of work. But it wasn't unmanageable. I work as a civil engineer. I have commitments, rushing the commitments. Everyone in the class had commitments outside of the course, and through the people who were giving the course, our colleagues and the people you were in class with, I think everyone was able to get it over the line, regarding of circumstance.
Yeah,
Thank you,
I
Cian.
kind of agree with Cian on that. I would just say the workload is nothing that's unmanageable in my experience. Now you do have to put in the work, you have to put in the time. Like Jeanne said, it's a level 9, and it's not something that'll just happen. You do have to put in the hours and the time, but it's definitely something that's manageable, especially if you do try and break it down into a bit more bite-sized pieces across whenever suits your schedule, rather than even all towards the end. Yeah, it's definitely manageable.
Thank you, Roisin. And we try as well our best to give you all the deadlines in advance so you can organize yourself. You have a proper break for Christmas. which is great, and you need it. And the course ran from September until March, so you also have your time before your summer. A lot of you might have to work maybe on festivals or exhibitions or things like that, so we try to give you April, May free as well, so you can plan your summer as well. But yep, anybody else has any follow-up questions? Thank you, Anna.
Hi, sorry.
Hello.
To jump in there, I'm kind of one of these people where I do a lot of different things. So, like I'm an actor and I write and I direct and I do drama facilitation. Like I do a lot of different things. But I think I was drawn to this course for similar to Roisin, like going to college and studying something creative and then, you know, being put out into the world and you don't know how business works. Like it's just, you know the creative side, but you don't know the business side. But I was thinking of like focusing on like drama facilitation and building up work in that area, like consistent work, because that actually is kind of what makes me the most money as of right now. But I was wondering if that would still be considered creative or if it's more a specific project of like you're writing this book or you're writing this screenplay or you have this, like what's the kind of framework of like what you would consider like a creative project thing to work on for the course, if that makes sense.
Of course it does, yeah. And just so you know, when we use the word creative, it's because we want people to understand that creative is not just art. You can be creative when you're making your own recipe for your dinner. You can be creative when you're coding as an engineer. And that's one of the first things you will do during first module is that creativity means way more than being able to do creative artwork. So what you're explaining right now is definitely a great example of what you could do as a project as part of the course. But as we were saying, creativity, we had people creating their own clothes, like Roisin was saying. We have people who were talking about drama and how to reuse the set, for example, as a drama set. So last year we had somebody who was thinking about how you can reuse the drama set because they're being used once and then they get rid of them. Some people might not think it's so creative. Actually, it's really creative, and it's exactly what we talk about cultural landscape as well. So it's very broad. When you talk about creativity and cultural entrepreneurship, it doesn't just stop at something that could be the typical idea that people have in mind. So I would definitely say, yes, go for it. And actors, we have at least 1 or 2 actors every year. And it's great because every time they come, it's a different approach that they bring as well. 3 years ago, we had somebody who wanted to help actors, to record their videos when they apply for a role because it was just post-COVID and a lot of people were struggling with that. And it was great. It was a great project and it worked really well. So definitely, yes, 100%. And if you guys want to jump in and say something else about it, please feel free to do so.
Yeah, I was friends with an actor in our course and she was amazing. Actually, she had a one-woman play that was on during the course, and I know that myself and a few of my classmates all went to support her outside the show as well. Like we're just so open to supporting each other in the course and outside the course that we all just gathered and went to watch her one-woman play and had a fantastic night. So it really is something that in any way creative, like everybody's a creative person in their own way. So I think that the net can be cast wide on what creative and cultural entrepreneurship is.
Thank you, Roisin. Thank you. Yeah, I hope that helps a little bit, your question. Yeah, super. Brilliant, thank you. Anybody else has any question? I was wondering if this question to me, not training creative arts direction specifically, but I work in marketing. I have marketing degree, but interested in exploring the creative world and through experience I really enjoy. Truly enjoy. Yep, 100% smart Martinique. 100%, that works really well. Marketing, we had people in marketing last year as well, and definitely because marketing is actually a very creative job. You have to stand out of the crowd. You have to have whatever you're publishing is seen more than anybody else. So marketing is definitely something that is super interesting in our course. We have a great lecturers that are going to come as well for marketing to tell you more about it. We had people that are already running their own business. Everything was working really well, but they just wanted to improve it, and they came and they learned a lot out of it, even if they were already running their own thing. So definitely, yes, marketing, that would definitely work for you as well. Even if you might have all the knowledge about marketing, you learn about the creativity, and then other people will have the other way around. They'll know all about creativity and they'll learn about marketing, which is great because you do exchange your knowledge throughout the course. So 100%, we'd love to see you there, Martinique.
Okay, great. Thanks so much.
No problem. Thank you. Guys, I just wanted to introduce Dan Rogers, who is here in the room with us. He's been answering a few questions. We didn't have a chance to introduce. So, hi, Dan. How are you?
Hi, Jeanne. Hi, everybody. Lovely to meet you all today. Yeah, so I've been just manning the chat there. Happy to answer any questions. And I all the participants on the course. So yeah, we're really pleased to hear from our alumni today. It's such a great opportunity to hear directly from people who've experienced the program. It's one thing that we tell you it's a great program. It's a different thing when you hear it directly from people who've participated. So it's great to hear the alumni perspective. So yeah, happy to answer any questions. I'm delighted to receive your applications.
Thank you, Dan. Yes, Amy Rose, please go ahead.
Hi, everyone. Really quick question. I'm not sure who might be able to answer this one, but I was just looking again while we were chatting at the name has gone out of my head.
Springboard, maybe?
No, just on the page for the course, anyway, the details. And I just wanted to ask about the fees because I was looking at it and I wasn't sure if there was an error or if it was just the way I was reading it. And it's very clear what the full course fee is, but then there's an area there where you can look at your eligibility and you can check whether or not you're eligible or depending on your criteria. And then there's another figure for eligibility and employed, and I'm just not sure if there's two fee structures. So maybe you could just give a quick outline on that if you don't mind.
Santiana, thank you for bringing that up. So the course, we run the course through Springboard. So if you're eligible through Springboard, there's a list of requirements. Then you are either employed, and in that case, Springboard will fund 90% of your course. And the fees you will have to pay is €312.50. If you're unemployed, then Springboard would fund your full fees if you're eligible for it.
Oh, I see. Okay, so there are two sort of levels of, depending on your circumstances.
Exactly. And if you're not eligible, then it's full fees, €3,125. But most of our students come through Springboard.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thanks very much.
Does it help? No problem.
Yeah, great.
Super, thank you. We have a question here regarding the number of people on the course. At the moment, we have about 40 places in total available that are funded by Springboard. These numbers goes up and down depending how we are selling the other courses, how many applicants we have, but it is going fast as we didn't run the course last year. We have a lot of people interested in the course. So I would recommend you, if you're interested, to start putting in your application as soon as possible. Even if you don't have all your documents yet, but at least we know that you're interested and we can support you in making your full application. 40. We don't have groups that are too big because we like to do a lot of group work and it's a lot of hands-on, a lot of interaction with the group. So it's not too big as a class, which makes it more fun for us as well. Okay, any more questions, guys? Okay, one thing I didn't mention is regarding assessments. So we only run assessments. There are no official exams. So we don't run exams. You're not going to be asked to sit in a classroom with a piece of paper to write down your answers. Everything is through an assessment, so you have time to prepare for it, which helps a lot because exams are terrifying. So hopefully that helps as well. Yes, I'm not sure. Is it Eilish?
Eilish, yeah. I was just wondering when I was reading about the course and the schedule for the course, like this is just a really basic practical question. I was just a bit confused around, I guess that it's part-time, but then there's part of the course is online and then part of the course is in person. So I was just wondering kind of what the schedule for that is, if it's like that maybe the first kind of semester of the course is online and if the second half is in person, or if it's kind of dispersed kind of more throughout the course. I just wasn't really understanding just based on what I read. I just wasn't sure.
No problem at all. Thank you for bringing that up. So we have a provisional schedule on the website, and if you click on it, you'll see that some weeks are in person, some weeks are online. So it's part-time because it doesn't take too many hours per week. It's about 6 hours per week. And then some of the classes will be face-to-face, some of the classes will be online. It's about 60% face-to-face and 40% online for the entire course. Module 1 is a little bit more face-to-face because it's a lot of hands-on, a lot of group work, and we want you guys to get to know each other. We work a lot around values as well and how you work together as creative. Module 2 is a little bit more online because it's a lot around Christmas time as well. It's before and after Christmas, a little bit more online because we know that there's a lot of demand as well for creative to be available around Christmas time. And then module 3, a bit more face-to-face again.
That's amazing. Thank you. Yeah, because I do have like a Christmas, it's like seasonal work that comes up. So I was trying to figure out if I would be able to manage it with that. That's amazing. Thank you.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, we do completely understand that. So I think the entire month of December is online from the top of my head. So that also allows you to travel if it needs to and join the class online. So yeah, we will try our best to be as flexible as possible, understanding our audience in the course.
Sarah, I had one quick question. There was one full Saturday. Was that kind of an introduction to the course kind of thing, or was it more than that?
So we have a few Saturdays at the moment in the schedule. We have, I believe, 3 Saturdays. It's the same on top of my head. The first one is really big introduction of the course, of who you are, starting to build your group, create your group, get to know each other. Then we have a Saturday where is the presentation of module 1. So first assessment is a group presentation where everybody comes and presents their project in front of the class. That's another Saturday. And then at the moment, provisionally, there's a third one where students are invited to come face-to-face and we do a recording of the video for the second assessment. You don't have to be there the entire Saturday, though, for that Saturday. You just come for about 10 minutes with me. We record your video and that's your assessment done. That's provisional. As I was saying, we are reviewing the assessment strategy, so it might change. But provisionally, that's what is in the schedule, Robert. I hope that helps.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks. Karen, I might just text you. Can you hear us? Yes, you can hear us. Great. Yes, definitely. Calligrapher. Yes, 100%. That's, of course, that would be brilliant. And if you can bring some of your work for us and see what you're doing, definitely 100%. That would be lovely. Thank you, Karen. Was it calligrapher? We had calligrapher as well in the past, I believe 3 years ago. Yes, I think so. I think we had somebody who was probably not similar as you, but it kind of in the same. Ooh, look at that. Amazing. Super beautiful. Yeah, that would be lovely, Karen. Thank you for sharing with us. All right, guys. I'm going to give a couple of more minutes in case anybody else has any more questions. Thank you, Emiras. Lovely to meet you as well, and hopefully we'll see you in September. Okay, guys, just want to say a massive thank you to Roisin and for Cian to spend our time with us, a nice hour together. Thank you for sharing all your experience and lovely positive outcome of the course. Really, really nice to see you guys again. We are running an event on the 18th of June, so if you guys are around, want to come, have a look, see what's happening, be lovely to see you there as well. Get to see some of your lecturers as well, meet the team, see where you're going to be in class. In the meantime, I really hope to see your application coming through. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate, drop us an email. We'll be happy to get back to you.